Welcome to Transforming the Toddler Years, a Core 4 parenting podcast for conscious, cycle-breaking parents ready to turn toddler tantrums into teachable moments. Hi, I'm Cara Tyrrell, a lifetime lover of littles, mom to 2 grown and flown girls, and an early childhood educator. Through the show, I teach you my collaborative parenting methodology for nurturing your little human's mind, body, and spirit. Because how you connect and collaborate in the first 5 years is how you raise happy, healthy kids who grow into the best version of themselves and find true success in school and life. But before we dive in, I would love if you could do me a favor. Could you scroll on down, rate the show after you listen, and leave a review, ask a question, suggest a topic? This will help me know how to better serve you, who to bring in. It will also help friends find us, other moms who need to be hearing what we're talking about together. Welcome back, Toddler Tribe. Today we're talking about mirror neurons. Yep, we're getting all nerdy up in the early childhood education space today. And you know, it's one of my favorite places to hang out. But ultimately, mirror neurons are so easy to understand when we just observe what we tend to do when our kids do things. For example, your infant giggles. What do? You giggle. They have a huge yawn. We yawn. If they are sad and crying, what does your face end up looking like? You're mirroring their state of being. Mirror neurons are very subconsciously driven. They're not something that we have a ton of control over until it comes out the first time. Now, if you're practicing self-awareness and being consciously aware of that moment that you're in, then we catch ourselves. And when I talk about catching ourselves, sometimes it's those mirror neuron moments that we use that aren't so great. I have a cool story about this one. Eye rolling, subconscious reaction, right? So my husband is a notorious eye roller. And for the longest time, I judged him for it until I realized, oh my gosh, he has no idea he's even doing it. He really doesn't. He was dumbfounded when I called him out on it. And he said, I did? I didn't even know I did that. So he's been working on it. And recently, we were out in public socializing with a group of people, and somebody else eye rolled in response to something that someone said. And he looked at me, like poked me with his elbow, and he was like, oh my gosh, I just saw it. I just saw that guy do an eye roll, and I don't think he knew he did it. I mean, how great is that, right? Talk about growing into an awareness of who we are. But these are the mirror neurons that we have, and it can really be important to use them to our advantage when kids are tiny, right? Your newborns, your infants. I'm talking up until maybe about 12, 14 months old, depending on their developmental journey. Those mirror neurons are really important, that we do things on repeat. They smile, we smile. We're teaching them what it looks like to be in a relationship with somebody else. Those are early relational skills. And the things we do on repeat, the peekaboo over and over with the big facial expressions, and then they have the expression, and then we have it again. These are really, really valuable learning tools for that growing brain that is making 1 million neural connections per minute in those early months. Now, what about when we are using words? Because the same thing happens. Kids who are just starting to talk and using one-word phrases, what happens? They say, duck. What do you say? Duck. They say, quack. What do you say? Quack. And if you think about this from a developmental standpoint, that it's a really positive thing that we're anchoring these words. We're creating a word to item connection, right? Vocabulary starts to build. That's wonderful. But I'm going to challenge you to observe that this is happening. And when you've said quack 4 times and you're like, wow, this is not, we're just going back and forth. It's like a tennis match. Intentionally decide to use words that sound more like a conversation, because this is another skill that we need kids to understand. It's called in the education space, serve and return. There's that tennis language again, right? They serve us up a verbal cue, banana. And we return a conversational sentence. You love bananas. They serve back up all they're capable of. Banana. But this time, the facial expressions are bigger and the tone in their voice is different because they know that they've been heard and understood. And we return another conversational statement. Bananas are really healthy for you. Banana. Would you like a banana right now? Can you see the difference between the mirror neuron, serve, and the intentional language conversational dialogue that you're using to show them, to teach them how conversations between 2 people work? It's good stuff, right? So let's take this one to the end. Now they're super excited. Nana, 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 Nana. Oh, they want that banana. Now what? Do you just give it to them? Well, here's what I do. Because I also want them, even though they have a limited vocabulary at this moment in time, I also want them to be advocates for themselves and learn to ask. And so I promote it. You're ready to eat a banana. Show me asking. Please. Banana, please. If you're listening to this on audio only, I'm using sign language. Banana, please. If you're watching on YouTube, well, you can see my hands. The reason I do this is twofold. 1, kids can sign long before they can talk, because the gross and fine motor muscle capabilities of their hands and arms develops before that fine motor and the muscle control of the jaw and the tongue in the mouth. Awesome. Good stuff. If you didn't know, I do have a sign language course, 21 signs over 3 weeks. They drip 1 a day, and all of a sudden, voila, you have a vocabulary in sign, and so do they. It's good stuff. Check it out. The second reason that I promote them to ask me is that I want them to know that they have a voice in their own home or in their own classroom, that they are able to ask for things that they would like. This is really important because kids have such a limited conversational skill. We often discount that they're capable of creative thinking and cognitive differentiation and making decisions and asking for things. But that's just not true. We underestimate what our 18, 20, 24, 30-month-olds are capable of doing because they're not capable of showing as much as they're doing in that brain. So when we set them up from the beginning to be able to ask for what they would like, appropriately, kindly, respectfully, of course, and then celebrate with them that they've made a choice, it really does anchor that belief system that I am allowed to communicate with the person who is in charge. that I am building a relationship with this trusted caregiver and that they will listen to me, whether I use my hands or use my mouth. They might not always agree with me. If 20 minutes later, this little one is banana, 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 what's your response going to be then? Oh, you do love bananas so much. I remember you had one just a few minutes ago. No more bananas today. Okay, you might not always agree, but they know that they can open the conversation. So today we've actually really dove down into that neuroscience space, and I want you to walk away feeling like, oh, I get it. So if something about the mirror neurons, you were like, I'm not sure, I have a question, reach out. I'll happily answer you. If something about designing conversation so that you're building an awareness of what it's like to back and forth instead of just back and back is not clicking for you, reach out. Happy to answer your question. The best way to do this is to book a complimentary connection call with me. And in that short amount of time, then you can give me a real life example of what's going on with your kiddo. And I can help frame what I just did in your world. And then it makes so much more sense because it's your experience that you're living every single day. All right, Toddler Tribe, you know what to do. Stay mindful and proactive as we transform the toddler years.